Hi, and welcome to Studio SN. My name is Sara Naumann, and today we're painting with Dylusions. I love using ink sprays on my cards, and Dylusions are some of my favorites. And the really cool thing about them is that you can, of course, use them to spray color onto your cardstock, but you can also use them for detail coloring as well as some spattering techniques. So you can see on the front of my card this big, beautiful vintage botanical. Well, this has been stamped and then heat embossed, so it's got a really nice raised edge. And then I've done the detail coloring on here using a very fine paintbrush and Dylusions. Now, the background of my card is also Dylusions, but instead of spraying, I've done a simple spatter technique using a stipple brush and a little bit of water to soften some of the color. Really easy techniques to do, so let me show you. First, I'm going to start with the stamping, and the stamp set that I'm using is from Paper Artsy, and this is the HP 1203 on EZ mount, and I'm using this big, pretty flower on here. And when it says it's on EZ mount, it means that it's one of these red rubber cling stamps. So they just peel off the liner sheet of the stamp set, and then you can pop them onto a clear acrylic block. And then I went ahead and inked it up using the Watermark Resist from Ranger. This is the embossing ink. And then embossed it with Wow's Primary Bark Regular Embossing Powder. So once I got that stamped and sprinkled with the embossing powder and then heat set, I have my botanical image that looks like this. And because it is heat set, I think you can see the shine of it. It's also raised, and this will really help with my coloring as well. And I've done it onto a heavyweight cardstock. This is actually the Nina Classic Crest cardstock from Crafter's Companion. You want to have something that is going to be sturdy enough to accept a wet medium. So a nice sturdy weight cardstock will do the trick. Then working on my craft sheet, I'm going to get my Dylusions ready to go. And I'm starting with the Funky Fuchsia, and that's what I'm going to color my flower with. So I just need to unscrew the top and get a little bit of the color here on my craft sheet. This is about all you need. You can see that's a really tiny drop. You don't need a whole lot. And I'm going to add some water next to this little drop of Dylusion. So I'm not spraying right into it because that can cause it to kind of kick up. So using a little mini mister, I'm just going to come over here to the side and spray a little bit of water there. And I'm using a very fine tip paintbrush. So this is, I think you can see how tiny that is. This is going to be really instrumental in getting in all of these little detail areas. So go with the smallest brush you can find. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the water and then a little bit of that Funky Fuchsia. And of course, the more water I use, the lighter my color will be. And then I can just come in here and add the paint or the color with the paintbrush to the flower. And the raised areas of my embossing are kind of keeping that color, that watery color inside the line. So I'm not even being terribly careful here. I'm just kind of scribbling the color in and then adding a little bit in the center. It dries really quickly, so if I want to come back and add stronger color, I can do that. So here I'm going to come back with a little bit of undiluted Dylusions and create a bit more color in here. And then do this little bit up here too. Now when I'm done with that, I'm just going to use a baby wipe to clean off the Funky Fuchsia. And then I'm going to bring back in the polished jade. And this is a really nice, pretty green. And same thing, just put a little daub of it on my craft sheet. Pick up some water that's over here. And again, just pick up some of that color on there. The water helps to soften and dilute some of the color because it's fun to add on to different colors and kind of build up. So you could use it straight from the bottle if you wanted to, but I like diluting the color a little bit just to have it be kind of a tone-on-tone effect. It allows me to play with the coloring in here. So again, because this is heat embossed, I can pretty quickly add my color in here. And because I've got this nice small paintbrush, I can go up here along the stems and get this center area here as well and simply color in the leaves with this first round of color. Okay, so here it is with the polished jade, a little bit in there. And then what I want to do is get kind of a two-tone effect on the green. So now I'm bringing in my Dirty Martini, Again, just tap off a little bit of that color. Pick up some of the water, a little bit of the Dirty Martini, and then add some of that on here. And I love the color combination of the polished jade and the Dirty Martini. I think they're just really, really pretty together. Get this in here and come along and just color as much as you want. It's kind of soothing, actually. It's very relaxing to just color in something. And again, because of those raised edges of the embossing, it's kind of foolproof, which is really nice. Okay, so I've painted in all of my flower. And now the next thing I want to do is add kind of a spattery effect to the background. So I'm going to put a little bit more water over here and come in with my stipple brush. And this is from Faber-Castell. This is meant to go with their gelatos, but I use it for everything. This is probably one of my most used tools. I'm going to pick up some water and then pick up some of both of those greens. And then just holding this over my cardstock, I'm just going to spatter. Use a light touch at first. Of course, you know, you can always go back and add more, but you cannot take it away. So I'm spattering this. I think it may be a little faint for you to see, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the polished jade on here and maybe a little bit more water and really get a bolder effect on here. The more water you use, of course, the softer the colors will be. The less water, the bolder your colors. And of course also like the proximity for the brush to your paper, that will also play into how bold of an effect you have. And so then you just need to let this dry. It won't take very long at all. And I'm going to kind of clean up some of my ink on here so you can see you don't really need very much at all to get a really cool effect. So once you have this, you just need to let it dry. And I'm going to bring back in my original card and we can talk about what I've done to put this together. So you can see the spattering on here and the coloring. All it needs really is just a little touch of ribbon and some coordinating cardstock pieces to highlight the colors of the Dylusions. So I've just matted this up onto black and then onto a really bright, fun fuchsia that matches with the funky fuchsia, and then some of this lime cardstock just as a little accent piece on here. You could, of course, then also add a stamped sentiment if you wanted to as well, but I thought this was kind of enough and to really let that beautiful vintage botanical stamp shine as the focal part of my card. So this is how you can use Dylusions to do detail painting as well as a fun spatter effect. I really hope you enjoyed today's show. For more ideas and inspiration, please do stop by my website at saranaumann.com. Thank you so much for joining me on Studio SN, and I will see you again next time.